here in the S.E.E channel. And here we are Monday evening in Elliston, Virginia, here at the Loves off exit 128 on the I-81. So anyhow, before we get started on topics, I'm just watching. I had great weather starting out. I got to the Rudders there in Inwood, West Virginia, and wouldn't you know it, I thought I had everyone turned down. So I went through pretty much, I've been in the mountain passes all day today. So I got down here, delivered a stop off 81 and shot over here. This place has been pretty much full, near full. I'd say 90% full when I got here. And everyone's just running around looking for parking spaces. And you have got to be kidding me. So you know how in the corner of the parking lot, and then you got a parking space right on that the freaking corner? Well, Swift is going to try to thread it in there. I hope the heck he doesn't take someone's hood off. So I'm just kind of, let's take a look and see here. So right there in the corner, so there's already two trucks on the side of me. He's right in there, so he's got to get by these, and it's tight. You know how that is. And yeah, Swifty Swift. Let's make sure they don't, disappoint or run over something. This guy next to me, he nearly clipped my trailer. He was getting a little overzealous by oversteering. So if you can, do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and again, I've got down in the description, if you could, subscribe to our detailing page, as we're trying to bump that over the 50 subscriber mark. And I've got a lot of great things coming for that as we are extending into the winter months. I've got a lot of plans for that channel out in the shop. And so anyhow, at least he's a white dude. So or at least appears to be American citizen. And that's where we'll leave that discussion, because now we open that discussion up. So yeah, if I just triggered some people, hey, I hashtag Gavin Newsom on there, I don't care. My safety, my family's safety, everyone's family, everybody out here should be damn well concerned of your safety when you have a foreigner in this country, ill-trained, ill-advised to know anything in this country as far as reading, speaking, writing of anything in America. And we've already been talking about this non-domicile, but these non-domicile means they don't have residency here. They're not domiciled here. They don't have residence here. They don't have citizenship here. So these guys are in here making money, and they have openly said they're sending all the money they make here back to the mother country, India, Middle East, Ukraine, wherever they're from. Everyone says Chicagoland, Russia, Ukrainian. Come on. Eastern Europe, Ukrainian. Them shit turds. Man, that country is one big turd hole. I nearly, a Ukrainian female doctor, I nearly clocked her for misrepresentation and ill advising, taking care of my spouse. And I'll tell you what, I have nothing good to say about those people whatsoever in healthcare. So going forward, these folks are not citizens, and you should be in a professional level of work. Whether these people are working at a nuclear plant, whether these people are working in healthcare, whether these people are operating equipment down our interstates, they need to be domiciled citizens here in the U.S. And what brought this on? And as I looked into, as I'm building this up and going after, I'm just going to keep railing on the ATA, because the ATA's got blood all over their hands, all across America, all 48 states. But Newsom, oh yeah, he's got the one already out there. What was that, I-10 this last week? And his hands are also, on with this one down in the Florida Turnpike. I don't care. If he was on board to wanting to take care of people in this country, he would have stepped forward and shut this stuff down. And what does it pertain to? It's the Biden Trucking Action Plan of 2021. And I'm going to read this. And I want to go over this because this is what opened Pandora's box to the freaking mess that we now have on our interstates with this non-English speaking people who have no idea what they're doing out here. So let's just do the overview. The Biden Trucking Action Plan, launched in December 16th of 2021, was to address challenges in the trucking industry. When they said that pretty much said, well, there was an influx. Well, yeah, you dumb. All right, you dummies. In government, you shut the country down. You broke the supply chain. So what's everyone doing? They're sitting home ordering everything. They're going down to the lumber yards. Well, I'm going to build an addition on the house, put a deck on the house. So all of a sudden, they got more time on their hands, and they're buying, ordering, and they're draining on the supply chain. So they broke supply. It was a supply chain disruption to which we've never seen before. Does it mean we have to go out and add more trucks? Because manufacturing was shut down. Canada, America. So you could throw more trucks to pull out of distribution or out of stockpiles or inventories. But once those inventories dried up, guess what? That's when things came to a screeching halt, leading to the downturn of where we're at now, because manufacturing had to ramp back up quick, fast, and in a hurry. Well, so not only did they this and then I'm going to keep going with this, but they wanted to flood America, not only to help with the trucking shortage, so they called, which was not. Then they wanted to throw these people in on manufacturing to ramp manufacturing. Basically, it's like spiking your insulin. You're going to spike the industry with all these workers because there's a demand, but that demand's going to peak and crash as fast as it went down, and it did. And then now we got layoffs. People are saying AI. There's also, we've come back down to what the country is at a basal. And so we'll continue on here. But we did not. We could have stayed going with this, but because there was such a demand for a short amount of time, rates went up through the roof, and then everyone thought this euphoria high was going to last forever. Even I knew when I worked right through the whole pandemic scheme, and I could have told you this is not going to last. It's a temporary. But yet here we are with I want to say this temporary, but I got to turn off my Garmin. For some reason, I must have triggered a word that turned on voice activation. So, but yeah, we had enough drivers out there if we would have just paced ourselves. But we live in a society of entitlements. We live in a society that is that wants instant gratification through convenience, and when they don't get it, these teenagers to 20, 30, 40, 50-year-olds to sit, throw a temper tantrum in the middle of the road. And this is why I'm not sympathetic to much of human beings or people anymore when they act like this, because it's a first world problem. This is not everything going on today, everything that's been going on the last 5 years, it's just a first world problem. And so with that, the industry, by focusing on increasing the driver supply, is what they were trying to do, and improving job quality. Key initiatives included expediting the commercial driver's license process through state funding and a toolkit, expanding registered apprenticeship programs and creating new pathways into the profession for veterans and other communities. The plan also aimed to tackle issues like unpaid detention time, low wages, and high turnover rates. Guess what? There's still unpaid detention time, there's still low wages, and there's still high turnover rates. Congratulations, it fixed nothing but flooded us with illegitimate human beings in our country. So key components of the plan was increased CDL availability. The government provided over $30 million to help states expedite the CDL process and distribute a toolkit to states with specific actions they could take. The expand registered apprenticeships. The plan included a 90-day challenge to boost the creation and expansion of registered apprenticeship programs, which paired new drivers with experienced mentors to ensure high-quality training. I can tell you, in latter part of 20, my company said, hey, we have this driver. He's been riding along with everyone. We're going to have him ride with you. I said, no. I said, absolutely not. I won't take him. And I said, I'll pull him out of the door, and I'll shut that door, lock it, and I'm leaving. But I will not take him. And they were like, you're serious? I said, damn Skippy. I'm not here to babysit someone. I will not train anyone. Even though I've got experience, I will not handhold someone and spoon feed them. If they got to be riding along with us, well, they got to learn your route. Dude, maps, GPS, satellite imaging. How much freaking more toolage and things do you need? As a driver, you should be coming with a whole bag of stuff to navigate yourself from stop to stop to stop. And if you need someone to show you, call the customer. How do the drivers get in there? That's what I do. I never call none of our drivers. I can go to any of our stops, and if I've never been there before, I'll call the customer. How do the drivers approach your business and getting in? Do they back in? Do they pull in? Do you have a dock? I ask the questions. Take the initiative, do the homework, and do the critical thinking, and work with the customer. But when people call me, how do you do this? How do you do that? Dude, have you Googled anything yet? Have you called the customer yet? Well, what time do they open? Have you called them? Call the customer. Because then you can ask them, and then when you ask them what time they open, they'll say, hey, okay, you open at 8, I'll be there at 8:30. Something like that. But for Christ's sakes, it's like, these days you're holding everyone's hand. I won't do it. Improved job quality. The Department of Transportation and Department of Labor launched the Driving Good Jobs initiative to conduct listening sessions and advocate for better working conditions, including studies on detention time and compensation. Basically, they sat down with some drivers, probably these stupid entities of ATA and OIDA, which will feed them a line of crap, a line of crap that is going to be only to their narrative and not to the rest of us that are in the trenches working out here. I love when you have these office jockeys in these entities that think they know what's best for us, and yet they're not out here in the trenches. I dare anyone in ATA to get out of that damn office and come out here and ride with us, any more than the OIDA. Hey, fat boy Pew, get your ass out here and start, getting in the trenches and see what the hell's going on. And that old bastard that's running OIDA, all that guy does is show up for meetings and conferences, damn asshole sleeping all the time. Get him out of there. Let's get some fresh meat in. Christ's sakes, you guys aren't doing your job. It goes right along with a lot of these YouTubers. Oh, I used to drive truck, but now I'm going to talk about trucking, from the comfort of my house and that. Shut the hell up. If you're not out here working in that, back off and shut the hell up and let the rest of us do our job out here. The plan, and it says recruit new drivers. The plan established new pathways for veterans and unrepresented groups to enter the profession. Unrepresented groups. There you go. A safe driver apprenticeship pilot was launched to provide training for drivers aged 18 to 21. And a Women of Trucking Advisory Board was created to encourage more women to join the field. Yeah. You know how many of these overweight people that have gotten out here that shouldn't even be in this industry? And most of these companies are looking for people to do physical work. And you can tell by looking at the mega carriers. I'm looking at Knight right now, Swift backed up. All these big carriers. These people, when you look at the mega carriers, these people look so unhealthy because they're in the companies that don't do any physical work. And, this is all they're going to qualify for. I got to meet a cool gentleman yesterday on my way across the Ohio Turnpike. Stopped to use the restroom at one of the travel plazas, and he was driving for Kaiser Transport. And he's been there a month. He has a 2025 589 Peterbilt. He said it's only two he's driving one of only two of the automatics they have. His new truck's coming in next month, so like November, he said he'll be getting his new truck, and mainly they're all stick shifts. Rentator step deck. He said, dude, I worked for TMC for 3+ years. Then he came over to Kaiser. He said, so far so good. And but you got to get out. You got to tarp strap. You got to climb around on the product and on the trailers and all that. Most of these people that thought, this is going to be, hey, I'll just make a paycheck and all that, but I'll keep eating my snacks and munchies and never get out of the truck, never do anything. It's like, well, I'm a professional driver. I said, yeah. And do you ever get in the trailer and secure anything down? Or do you got to have people to do that? Because I've seen guys carry step ladders to get in the back, get in the back of their trailers, because they are so unhealthy and so short of breath walking back there, they can't even get in their wagons to do any securement. So it's just, I don't know. It's funny because even some of my customers, like, I'm glad it's like the one this morning, you and one other guy gets out and helps unload products. Everyone else sits in their truck. And I said, yeah, go figure. So addressing long-term challenges, a task force was established to investigate predatory truck leasing arrangements and explore longer-term administrative and regulatory actions to improve driver retention. Yeah, driver retention is going to be what a driver feels. If he's not getting what he feels he should be getting, home time, decent equipment, great pay, great benefits, and respect, they're going to leave, man. They'll leave quick, fast, and in a hurry. And usually most drivers got a good sense of that within the first month. So, predatory truck leasing. Yeah, that's a California thing. That's stupid crap, because they, what was it? They didn't want, if you had a truck lease, if you leased a truck through a company and you were still hauling for that company and that's all you could haul for, then you were not a independent contractor, you're still a company driver. They said they should be able to take that truck they're leasing from that company and be able to go get loads anywhere besides that company. So, Prime being one of them, that pretty much you're under their umbrella pulling what they tell you you're going to pull. And we give you like 3 options to pull. And it's like, I'll tell you what, I'd like to see the day Prime's out of business, because that's a shitbox company there. I wouldn't go there. What in the hell is going on? Oh, dude's revving his engine up next to me. Oh, so where was this one at? National Archives. Let's go back and read on some of this stuff. And then we'll talk about that Bill 1745, and that had a lot to do with just trying to get the 18 to 21-year-olds in, just driving like within their home state, domiciled state. So, under the National Archives through the White House, the Biden-Harris administration trucking action plan to strengthen Americans' trucking workforce. So let's read this and see if this coincides or jives with everyone for the safety and well-being of all of us out there. Trucking plays a critical role in the U.S. supply chain economy. American truck drivers have been on the front lines of the pandemic, delivering goods in every corner of the country. 72% of goods in America are shipped by truck, and in most communities, trucks are the only form of delivery. A strong, stable, and safe trucking workforce. You know, we've had that right along. You know, they just, because they broke the supply chain, it disrupted it to a point. You know, everyone was in demand, or supply was more in demand than they could do the output of manufacturing it. But outdated infrastructure, no, it wasn't outdated. It was fine. And a historic volume of goods moving through our economy. Well, dude, you shut the whole country down. You sent everyone home, locked everyone in a cage, and said, "Here's your computer." You know, if you wanted to fix that supply chain during the pandemic, you should have turned the internet off. But no one could work from home then. Well, you know, then we would have never had a supply chain problem because everyone was ordering like banshees. That's why the trucking demand was the driver demand seemed to be needing to be ramped up and in need. But overall, they should have just tapered things, found a way to taper the supply chain, and just, you know, it would have been a tick up, but just keep it to that point, and then let it, you know, free market wise, let it flow back into its normal basal. But they decided to shove 50 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag and throw all these extra drivers on here, and they forced it so hard that a lot of these guys were unqualified, undocumented, you know, paperwork, license, everything just doesn't match up for them being behind the wheel, nor can they, you know, they can't speak the language, they can't read it, or understand the, you know, any of the symbols and signs out on the roads that, you know, let's see if that helps. Yeah, that's a little better. The pandemic exacerbated long-standing workforce challenges in the trucking industry, including high turnover rates, an aging workforce, long hours away from home. It's trucking, man. Everyone's like, I don't want to be away from home. Dude, trucking's not for you. Nor is an airline pilot. Or don't join the military either, because you may get deployed and be gone for a year. You know, it's like, oh, boo-hoo. It's like, my gosh. You know, these guys are just pandering to the poor old helpless me American. It's like, when did we become a bunch of damn soft-core pussies in this country? Long hours away from home and time spent waiting, often unpaid to load and unload. Well, yeah, at congested ports. Well, there you go. You had a lack of workforce at the ports, especially Long Beach. And then what do? They turn around while there's a demand to pull containers out of the ports. Then they say, oh, but all you guys coming in with the suspension or the chassis trailers to put the container boxes on the chassis. Oh, but your truck's got to be 2012 or newer. Your truck's got to have all this emissions on it and this and that. Because Los Angeles County owns Long Beach port dock for containers. And they are the largest volume in America for, you know, moving containers. So they said, oh, you know, it's like, dude, we didn't have a driver shortage. We didn't have a truck shortage. What we had was regulations getting in the way. If they would have just stepped aside, got the hell out of the way and said, I don't care if you got a 1960 GMC Crackerjack 318 two-stroke Detroit diesel, bring it on in, get this container out and get it to the customer. Move this damn volume. Instead, they're like, no, let's not bring any trucks older than 2012 into our ports. So, and this was, Los Angeles saying, we require that you got to have 2012 or newer. And then they started just railing more and more. And I think they upped it now to 2016 or newer trucks. It's like, you're getting in your own damn way of making progress happen. And that's our government. Anything the government touches screws it up, makes it worse. And then you wonder when everyone's standing around, why is everything worse? Because you wanted the government to intervene, interject, and try to fix something. I'm sorry, they just... government, we need way less government. We need to take the government during the shutdown right now. I would like to see 50% of the employees get laid off, quit, do away with their jobs. Hey, sorry, go be a greeter, go be a barista, go figure something else out. But you're off the payroll, man. You're off the dole. Get away. Go away. Cut the government in half. We need far less government because it's screwing everything up for the livelihood of all of us to live. And this goes right along with Canada, Europe, and all these other countries. Less government is better for the human beings. Human beings, nature, their psyche is they do not want to be ruled. And that goes across. This isn't just a Trump thing. This is everything. It's every nation, every government in the whole wide world. Human beings don't want authoritative people to rule them. They don't like authority. So just let people, let them run amok. Yes, we need civilized society. But we don't need government doing surveillance, tracking, and all that jazz. Like, we have said, these people that have been running over people with these semi-trucks, people that murder people, you know what? Capital punishment. Then you know that, hey, if I go out and murder someone intentionally with a gun, or I drive reckless, gross negligence, and kill people, there's capital punishment behind that if you're found guilty. So we need to bring that back. And you can tamper down, and then you it's like, it's so simple, but everyone's gotten to the point of, I'm lazy, I don't want to critical think, I just want to click a button, I want convenience, don't inconvenience me, or I'm going to be over here protesting in the street, which, good Lord, I've got better things to do than ever take time for that nonsense. Or, be reliant on social programs for handouts. It's like, no, I don't want anything to ever have leverage on me. That's the way I function. That's the way I think. I don't want to be dependent on that SNAP card being filled every month, or a welfare check being dropped in the account, or anything like that. I'm going after and getting all my shit because I can stand back and say, this is mine. And I know if I don't make enough money, it's because I didn't try hard enough. But it's not because I sat on my ass playing video games, fornicating, 4 or 6 little demon seeds, and then waiting for the damn, the refill on your EBT card and your bank account every month. So, yeah, you know what? If you're not going to work and support those little shits, then don't have them. Plain and simple. Reflecting that demand wages for employed drivers in all trucking segments have increased 7 to 12% in the last year alone, blah, 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 blah. You know what I got out of this? Where was it that I saw? Not there. In 2021, on average, more than 50,000 CDL'S and learner permits were issued each month, which was 20% higher than the 2019 monthly average and 72% higher than the 2020 monthly average. In fact, by the end of October 2021, states had been issuing more license and permits than all of 2019. While backlogs and delays existed in some states, they can be cleared by using proven strategies. For example, using these tools this past summer, New York reduced testing delays by 37%. California recently expanded hours and locations and increased the number of personnel who can administer the road test. Basically, just paid, take the tester, bribe them with some money, and you got passed. North Carolina increased the availability of testing appointments, and Texas has expanded hours, testing capacity, and shifted the process online. There is more work to do, blah, blah, blah. So, they really, it's the Biden Trucking Action Plan that started this crap show, along with their open border policies. So here we are, and now, the party's over. Who's staying after to help clean it up? Oh, no, I got to go home and my EBT and play my video games and get my state assistance and all that. And now that, everything's tightening up, and now people's income, layoffs, AI, everything's evolving and changing. Whether the Democrats got in or not, it doesn't matter. What we're facing right now, other than probably kicking the can down on all these illegals, pretty much the can would have got kicked down the road, and this economy would have been constricting tightly. And you can't print your way out, but they're trying to print their way out, the Federal Reserve. But their balance sheet has doubled. What did he say? It's doubled from like 5 or 6 years ago. So they're sitting on $6 trillion of shit on their balance sheets right now. And they're going into quantitative easing. So they're going to be cutting rates, which, big deal. I was having this discussion last weekend when I was out of town with a person. And I said, I don't give a shit what interest rates are. Everyone's like, oh, interest rates. I could give two shits if they're 6, 7, 8, or 10%. Big deal. But that house that sold in, say, 2018, 2015 for $200,000 is not freaking worth $450,000. And I've told my spouse, I'll look at a house, but I'm looking at areas where I'm looking at housing right now, because we're selling our house next year because we got to get out. It's going to cost more to keep it maintained than it is just to get out and get something newer. But these people need to take about a good 40-50% haircut on the selling end. And if people don't like it, I say, hey, screw you, good luck with it. I know I'm going to be sitting in a good position to purchase a house next year, but I'm sorry, but especially a lot of these people that are sitting on 30, 40, 50-year-old homes, and they think they're going to get more out of them than these new house builds, which is washing out right now, where you can just get a new build for and about 20% less than what these people with these imaginary numbers. I guess they're waiting on pixie dust and unicorns and all that to show up to give them this $500,000 for this 1,500 square foot ranch house. It's like not gonna happen. And I don't know, people are living in fantasy land from 2021. That was the fantasy. People were definitely in fantasy. They were on a fantasy high that year. And a lot of them, if they lived in New York, they moved down to Tennessee because, hey, I can work from home. I can leave California and move to Arizona or Texas. I can work from home. And then all of a sudden, this last year, no, we need you back at the office. Well, I moved away. Well, if you can't be in this many days a week or this many times a month, then your job's eliminated. And I think a lot of these people that work in these offices have done so much, like all their jobs intertwined, and it was so redundant that, a lot of them just cut the fat and let them go. But, Gavin Newsom, he just like, nope, I don't like Trumpy Trump. I don't like what he says and does. He hurts my feelings, blah, blah, blah. That dude slicks his hair back. He looks like the most shadiest, greasy used car salesman from the 1970s, looking to screw you over every time. It's like, that dude is the biggest effing loser. Him and his crony business buddies there. And why you people support him is like, why? Because, well, he gives us all free stuff. And it's like, yeah, but when the free stuff dries up, like it's doing now, and nothing else is there, is he still going to be your buddy? Going to still be your friend? And they're only your friend when they're giving you the free stuff, but when they take it away, oh, how dare they? And then all of a sudden they're your enemy. And I don't know, this country is really, it's sick. The country is sick right now, and it needs to be purged. It needs to be cleansed, detoxed. I guess is how you'd want to say it. So, too much drug ridden and too much homelessness, and we're martyring these damn illegals far more than our veterans that have come home and dealt with these billionaire wars, is what they are. Ukraine and Gaza and Iraq and God knows where else, Venezuela. They're churning that butter barrel up right now. And it's like it's all by design, because war is profit. And if they don't have a bunch of wars going on, the people that fund this country, the military industrial complex, all their corporations, well, war is profit. So you'd have to be a fool to join the military right now. Absolute fool. And because you're not defending us here in America, and the National Guard's like, well, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. Well, I'd say, you know what, if your National Guards aren't going to step up when called upon to suppress a lot of these violent protests and that, cut these fuckers out. Send them down, packing down the road and say, go get a job, scrubbing the bottom of the barnacles on boats or some shit. I don't care, but get them out. But as far as joining the military and that, yeah, not at all. Because all you're going to do is go over and fight someone else's war. You're not fighting America. Our military was established for one thing only: protect our borders. That's it. That's all. We should not have any military positioned anywhere outside of the United States. It should be all here. Line them up and down, from Brownstown to Tijuana, and just line them up, put them out there on the Mexican border, put them up on the Canadian border too, and say enough's enough. I mean, if I was running a country, I know that's what I'd like. Nah, I'd be pushing to say screw you and just start purging everything. But there's all these corporations that are lobbying and buying, and just like Israeli with their apex, they're buying off these congressmen and senators, and that's where they're making their money. Everyone says, well, a congressman or senator only make like what, 175, 200,000 a year. Yeah, look at them as you look at a professional athlete. They may say, well, they're only getting $1 million a year. Yeah. What are they getting on their endorsements? Like Jordan getting Nike and all of his endorsements from that. That's what these Congress and senators are getting from the corporations, from the lobbyists, from Israel and the apex. And you can Google apex, Israel's apex. They come over here, they wine and dine them. They them off. This is why those guys don't have term limits in Congress, because they sit and ride that out, because they live on their endorsements. Why do you think these guys are over and over millionaires, multi-millionaires as politicians? Because they're endorsements from all the corporations that send the lobbyists out, and they buy them off, man. And it's a corrupt and nasty, all the governments. It's not just America. I mean, I know I speak of America because I'm here. I live here. I'm born and raised here. But it's just damn right, downright nasty. And no, I don't support it. So do I support politicians? Well, I don't talk about politics in this channel because, nah, I stand right in the middle. I'm an independent, but I'll stand right in the middle. I want to hear both sides. I want to hear the ideologies from both sides. But at the end of the day, I'll take care of my own economy. I don't need the government to feed me my SNAP and my welfare and jazz like that. You know what? And people are talking about, when are you going to retire? I said, F retirement. Retirement's just it's a marketing scheme that they have sold you on with a lie. Well, you get a pension, you get Social Security, you get this and that. Yeah, you're on a fixed income. And I made it clear this last weekend. You know what? Pensions and Social Securities, they can give it and they can take it away. Because you're on a fixed income, you have no control over it because you put in your time at that job and they said, we will give you a pension, but it will be a fixed income. And it can go up or it can go down. Mainly, it's so volatile right now in the economy that some of these hedge funds that back these pension plans, if they tank, they go down, or if they hedge some volatile liabilities into their hedge fund that will like poof it up in the air and dissolve it, you could be totally wiped out or take a 50% haircut on your pension. Are you ready for that? When that should happen? Because they're in control of your money that you receive. You are not. And again, that's why I don't have a pension, but am I stashing money away? Absolutely. Could I retire tomorrow? No. I mean, I'll work, but do I need to work right now? Yes. I have some debts. But I've been, and Miss Laura's in the chat. She'll tell you she's throwing everything in the kitchen sink at debts right now. And I'm getting rid of things. And I said, really? When it comes down to it, I'd like to get down to here in the next couple of years, down to one vehicle. Or we got three, or at least get rid of my truck and some other stuff because there are things I don't need. And moving forward, I'm going to be taking advice from another YouTuber. I'm just going to go into purchasing old vehicles. Not so much for my wife, but for me, for a second vehicle, it'll be a what do they call it? Clapped out shit box. But for the most part, no, there's no need to go out here. I laugh at these guys. They go out and they buy these new trucks. Paid $100,000. I said, you just showed me how irresponsible and dumbed down you are with money. So you definitely are not a financial advisor, are you? Nor the guy that is a financial advisor that shows up in a Mercedes or a Ferrari or a BMW. I'm like, yeah, that's just showing me that you're just raking everyone that you have signed up for 401k contributions. You're just taking their money, that you're making off the fees on that, and you're living good. So now I'll take control of my investing. I'll take control of my cash flow and my economy. And that's just it, having control, having your own control. Because we're getting set up right now, and it's by design. And they're going to, they're going to take away the SNAP food and all that. Then hostility and riots and violence is going to arise next month. And how do I want to put this? But I lost my train of thought. But with the volatility of that, when people start getting hungry and all, it's gonna flip the script on the way they think. And all this talk of bum rushing into the grocery stores and stealing groceries and that, there's gonna be a lot of people, I can't say who might be, but some of us may have some pew-pews and some hollowed out brass and lead strolling along. So God knows, be prepared for that. So at this point, going to a gas station to go in a grocery store, my wife won't go and I told her this was coming. And I said this 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago? Because it's been going on 3 years, hasn't it, Laura? That we have gotten all of our tools to protect our assets and our CPL and all that stuff. And I will tell you, I said it's coming, and I said it's going to be 3 to 4 years, yeah. And I can say that we knew this was going to come. And I said my biggest thing for doing a concealed carry was grocery stores. I said that 3-4 years ago, didn't I? When we went out and made the purchases and took the classes and all that, I said it's gonna come to, you're gonna need to defend yourself in grocery stores, because I don't give a shit about clothing stores and all that, but it's gonna be the one place there's only two places I go in retail wise, is that stopping at and getting fuel in the car, and what groceries we may need, which is usually the smallest cart they have. I order grocery delivery if I needed anything while you were away. Yeah, and that's just it too. It's not only you think, what you're just saying there, not only thinking, well, I can avoid going to the grocery store. Keep in mind, they're going to watch that person coming out with all those bags of groceries. They're going to follow them to the house. Not to say they can come with a carload of people or anything and bum rush you and that delivery person bringing groceries to the house. So these people are going to tail people. If they see a whole SUV getting loaded up the groceries, I don't think for 1 minute they may not even just follow you home. So keep that in mind. So when you go out there to receive the groceries, I'd be having some tools in your hand, or at least tucked in, because I would not trust anyone anymore. I've lost faith in all that in society, because I look over my shoulder, take the dog out back when it's dark at night. You damn Skippy. So I'm protecting myself, and you have to, but yeah, of course, the good old circus rainbow state of California, dipshit out there who's running that turd show, he don't give a shit about none of you people. I'm going to tell you right now, he could give two shits. As long as you're paying your taxes, they'll leave you alone. But for the most part, he could give a shit less. He'll take a steamroller over you. Hell, they just did. Oh, that's right. That guy just ran right through a whole traffic. He don't give a shit. He's about the most cold-hearted, arrogant prick I ever seen for a governor. And I'll even say that governor, our governor in Michigan, that Easton faction piece of shit just needs to get out of there. I don't throw her ass right out of the state, right along with Minnesota, Illinois, and New York. They got to be the worst states I've ever seen. And these people are not out for they're not there to represent the people of that state. They are there for the gain of profitability. That's it. To move their career up and profit. They don't give two shits of what they're going to do. They will sell you all out to get gain of profit to further themselves. That's all it is. So you guys all against Elon Musk, you're all against this, these billionaires and that. You know what? You better be looking over your shoulders at the people you elected in your own states, like your governor, because they're going to sell you out in a quick, fast, and in a hurry flash to profit themselves and escalate their career or their bank numbers. So, people are just running on ignorance in this country anymore. And I'm going to tell you right now, nothing of the government, federal, state, and local governments are not there for you. And need to not be dependent, and definitely question everything and anything they say or do. And it's a straight up fact. And if you're so reliant on the system, I don't know. I definitely won't stop and help you. If you're going to be that person that's going to sit in the street because you need all this government dole, because you're so dependent as much as a meth head, then I'd say, you know what? A meth head, at least they're an addict in such a way they can at least go, you can rehab them, but you can't rehab those people that are, getting social programs and handouts. But at least you can try to help an alcoholic or a drug addict. So they got a better chance of turning their life around and getting on their feet and doing something than those that are dependent on the social programs. So anyhow, folks, I want to get some dinner. Tonight's menu is well, what did I have? Last night I had, I got 2 pounds of shredded chicken from our local deli. And with shredded chicken, I took a quarter of a pound and blended it in with roasted garlic, cream of mushroom. I had cottage cheese, and I had some chips and spinach and Parmesan dip. So tonight it's going to be chicken and jasmine rice, some cottage cheese, and it's cold. It's like getting down to 30 degrees, 34, 35 degrees right now. It's been raining, a light rain, so it is cold and wet. So it's definitely getting to be soup weather. I definitely got a bunch of soup back there, chicken noodle and tomato, but I think it's going to be rice, chicken, cottage cheese. See what else. What else I got back there, and I also got stuff to make a wrap too. So tomorrow I may be wrap and tomato soup. So I'm just trying to change everything up from one end to the other, working with what I got in here. And I don't buy no food at any fast foods. I stay away from all fast foods. I stay away from buying any pastries and sweets. And gotten off the energy drinks, so I am 3-4 weeks off the energy drinks, and just put that little bit of C4 packet, like 1 ounce packet, in water, and I'm drinking about 3-4 bottles of water now a day, so that's upped. And I definitely am feeling far less fatigued, even for the hours. I'm still putting in the same hours, but I definitely have noticed that I'm not so fatigued by the end of the week. Like, I definitely could tell the energy drinks were draining on me, and I knew I had to find a way to pivot out of them. I have this of coffee every day, and all that is just half and half in there. I don't do sugar or anything. I don't do any sugar. I did get raw honey because I wanted to try something different with the raw honey, and some ham. I got some ham slices and in a wrap, and I wanted to drizzle some raw honey on there just to give it some sweet. So that's my, I'm just trying to find a way to put a little sweetness in, but not be relying on candy bars and other crap. And or the French fries. You ever notice McDonald's French fries? If you dropped one and like 2 years later you're under the tracks of your seat, and you're down there vacuuming, and you find that fry, that one fry, no mold, no black mold, no green mold, no nothing. It looks the day it fell out of the package. It's like, wonder how your bioacids and all that in your stomach, how does that break that down? Does it break it down? I don't know. So you wonder why there's so much intestinal but colon cancer going on in this country. And ask your grandparents or great grandparents, did you ever have colonoscopies back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s? Well, no, never heard of it. But then colon cancer wasn't a thing. Why? Because it's what we're eating out here. It's total poison and garbage. So anyhow, do due diligence, be critical of things, question everything, research everything, do your own reading, be self-educated. You don't need to go to college to be somebody. You can do this on your own. You can learn to start a business. You can learn a niche all on your own. It's the power of the internet. It's the power of everything here, So start a YouTube channel. That's one way to start a business. So you got a niche, promote it on YouTube, promote it on X, promote it on TikTok. There's so many ways you can put yourself in a position to better yourself, but you got to take the initiative and you got to get motivated. And not a lot of folks do that. So they want the easy way out. They don't want to work, and they don't want to critical think. So, oh well. And if I seem a little raw and unfiltered tonight, it's, things are coming to a head. And yeah, I've been doing this long enough that I'm not going to tolerate, insubordinate, and I want to say illegitimate drivers out here. So put it that way and put it nicely. So anyhow, folks, try to touch bases on a different subject. Try the end of this week, but stay safe. Continuing educating yourself. Knowledge is learned and not taught. And we will see you all in the next video.